I need to exfoliate my lips. Oh, hey, I have a like. Oh, there's a person here. Hey, hello, person. How do I see who's in here? This is all new to me, so. Hey, how are you? It's good to see you. You have the view you do because I don't know where my one of my other phone stands is, and I'm simulcasting on Twitch, so that camera is using um, my tripod right now. So you get the close-up view, but if you're on Twitch, you can watch me play my game as well. Oh, okay. Well, hey, 5 minutes. Then, do you want a story? Do you have any questions? How are you? Are you okay? Are you good? Yeah, yeah, I'm too timing. But hey, I'm supposed to be remembering my stepfather, and if I wasn't taking every opportunity to pretend fish on a video game, he would be ashamed of me. I'm glad. I'm glad it was a good day. Trust me, today he was laughing his ass off. He was laughing his ass off today. Um, I'm glad. Uh, Part of me was really angry at him when he died, with just cause, but it doesn't make it easier that I realized everything after he was already gone. Oh, sure, no problem. I don't even know how well you guys are hearing because the headset's actually for Twitch. It's to my controller, so. Hello, person. Technically, I have 3 people. Yay! And I am trying to be responsible and finish my dinner. So this is my dinner. Isn't it exciting? Oh, god damn. Jesus Christ. Yeah. It's actually really good, so could be worse. hmm Actually, it's really hard not to just chug it. That's actually one of the things I miss. Um, like, I was really good at drinking games. Funny things happen when you don't actually absorb any alcohol. My digestive tract was so screwed up back then that I was only absorbing maybe half or less of the alcohol content I was drinking. And There were some competitions that I retired unbeaten. I have a full clean record, wins across the board, so, and most of them involved chugging. Ah, the things I am proud of. So, Easter was always kind of like the day of the year. Like everybody always thought it was so weird because they'd ask what my favorite holiday was. It was Easter. Easter. It's always Easter. And I'm like, okay, but why? I mean, do you like eggs that much? Because it was because my family made it a thing. Um, my family had a group of friends, and I mean, it was like borderline hippie commune shit. And one of them lived on a piece of land that had this old barn in it. This is out in Washington State, so this is on the West Coast. So there's this group of about 7 or 8 hippies, and they would they would take about 20 doobies, 20 joints, decorate them like Easter eggs with like ink pens, and then they would hide them in the wall of this barn and go doobie hunting. And then they would stand around and they'd smoke all 20 joints, get high off their asses, and be stupid. And one of those idiots was my mother. So eventually they started having kids. Um, my father's best friend had was the first one in the group to have a child. And then like 2 years after that was my brother. And then 2.5 years later, it was me. And by the time I came around, they had started throwing eggs into the yard for the kids. And eventually they actually started boiling them. And then eventually they started actually decorating them. And then it turned into a multi-family, 4 generation, 50-year-long tradition, potluck, and highly competitive egg decorating competition with egg hunting for the children and prizes for the egg decorating contest. And like it was a thing. And there was a change jar. And as the kids got older, once they were teenagers, they started doing plastic eggs full of money. And one of them would have like a $20 bill in it. And we weren't just poor. I legitimately grew up in squalor. I'm confident and comfortable saying that now. Um, my mother didn't live where she left us. I thought she worked a lot. Um, and then I found out that back then she had another apartment 2 towns over. We were just a paycheck to her. So, well, until my stepfather came around, and then things changed. Um, so, $20 was a big deal. $20 was like a huge deal. Yeah, so I have been in trauma recovery from what she did to me. But I've been in therapy since I was about 15, dealing with a lot of the issues, not knowing that they were caused by her, not knowing that they were things that she was making sure continued. She was a legitimate monster. I feel, even though I cannot diagnose her with anything, I believe that my mother was interviewed by the FBI multiple times because they know she is an antisocial. I think that they knew she was a sick person to the point that the FBI kept an eye on her. She is a malignant, Machiavellian, narcissistic psychopath with cognitive empathy, covert. The gaslighting was so intense. I see through it now. Nobody will ever be able to outdo that masterwork. It took almost 41 years for her to slip up. And she always thought it would be somebody else ratting her out. You know? She did it to herself. And she knew she did it too. What I didn't know is that my stepfather was around because of me. He lived in a life of hell because he was trying to convince her to marry him so he could prove her an unfit mother and adopt us. He wanted to take us away from there. He wanted to save us. He wasn't stronger than her. He died when I was 14 years old, but he lived much longer. She killed everything that he was. She left him hollow. And then a devil came in and took his soul. I am 43 years old this year. My stepdad died 5 years ago, physically. But the man I knew died when I was 14 years old. And that's the man that I remember. That's the one I miss. That's the person that I will always love. And I am amazed by him. I was so lucky to have him in my life. Before him, I didn't have a bed. I slept in a dresser drawer. He was moving in to help with the bills because my mom was having a hard time selling more drugs than she was doing. And her friends' husbands were running out of money and patience from their wives for her services. So she let him come and stay in the house. She figured free babysitting, and um, he'll pay half the bills. It's perfect. She didn't even need to worry about not being there enough because she dropped us in a old trailer that she told her parents was destroyed, and it wasn't. It was. It had a tree fall through it, and they patched it together, and she left us in that. And mostly the neighbors were our caregivers. Uh, but when he came around, she actually was needing to be at the house more. It was like something had changed. Oh, I know what changed. That was when she OD'd in front of us. That's right. She couldn't do coke anymore. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that was when I was about 7 years old. Um, she started seizing on the floor in front of us, and we had strict instructions not to call 911 until after we brought the neighbor who was training to be a nurse over first. So I was left alone with my seizing mother, and my brother ran um, down the street to the neighbor's house. It's probably about a football field, and got them, and they came back to the house, and then they called the police. Then they called the ambulance. And my mom was gone. She disappeared. She wasn't, around on it. They were said she was in the hospital, but she was gone for about a month. About, like maybe 28 days or so, whatever that is. And then came back and said she was allergic to caffeine and it was a caffeine reaction. And she was around a lot more. And she was suddenly having a whole lot of sinus problems because now she was a bottle or two a day of those nasal sprays. It was sometimes she'd ask you to get in her purse and get her wallet, and it'd be like swimming through those little bottles. And sometimes you'd see her cutting a top off, trying to stick a straw in there just to get the last little bit. And I never even thought for a moment she was an addict. Not for a second. It didn't even cross my mind because as far as I knew, that was a over-the-counter medication. She was using it because she needed it. Yeah, I know. I appreciate it. Um, my stepfather, he tried to shield me from that. And he did an unfortunately a very good job of it because I didn't see it at all. I didn't see the gaslighting. I didn't see the the obvious signs that I should have seen, because he was trying to keep me protected from it, but he couldn't protect me from all of it. So I still had these suspicions. And I had these moments of clarity as a child where I would just, so I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos. So my fingers go all sorts of crooked when I write. If I put any pressure, my fingers just, they are too bendy. And so it's painful to write with my hand. And my skin is really fragile. I bruise really easy. And so I would get bad bruising and indents on my fingers from holding the pens and the pencils, and writing was not pleasant for me. And so I remembered spending hours filling a page, notebook after notebook after notebook, with nothing but "I hate my mother," just trying to make sure that I never forget. But the weird thing is, when you're a child, um, you kind of have to, because you need to believe that somebody is there taking care of you. If and she was my only parent. She she is responsible for my father's death when I was 10 weeks old. So all I had was her and the cult and the group of hippies that got together on Easter to smoke weed, because that's the story I was telling. And we circle back around. Anyhow, so it's like this 50-year-long tradition of highly competitive egg decorating and potluck, and a bunch of old hippies joking about how they're turning into yuppies. Um, and and Jimmy Buffett music, and uh, it was just like, teens versus adults volleyball. It was everything you kind of would expect from a random weird group of old hippies who, you know, missed the good old days, and they were good people. And to me, they were all like parents, because I was a baby when my father died, and my mother abandoned me for the first 2 years. Um, I was raised by my grandparents those first 2 years, and but that there was a short period of time before my dad passed, and right after he passed, where it was more like she was just handing me off to anybody. Just didn't want anything to do with me. And then I spent those first 2 years like with my grandmother, and then she ran out of money, so we went back to her, but we never saw her. And I was with these people who were terrible and disgusting. And then she was around, but she wasn't there. And then it was like my brain. Then I got sick. That was another thing too. So, my father died from in an infection in his heart. Basically, it was a blood infection, and had he gotten to the hospital 3 days sooner, it would have been a 50-50. Even today, with what he was dealing with, it's not much better than a 50-50. So I fully acknowledge that she did not murder my father, but she was being petty and spiteful because on Father's Day, my father and his first wife shared a smile over me. And my dad loved her still. He never stopped loving her. I call her mom now. Um, but he he was seeing how sick my mom was, and there was already talk of divorce. And she saw her cash cow smiling at this other woman that was her competition, and quite honestly, way more attractive than her. And they already had a kid together. You know, it was one of those situations. It was her love bombing got him. But my dad was super smart, like crazy smart. Gullible, like me, but crazy smart. I think he was a spatial thinker as well, just saw things differently. And he was sick. And she thought it was just a chest cold. And she figured she'd just let it go. And she wouldn't really help him or take care of him because let him suffer, not knowing it would kill him. With me, she knew there was a good chance that I was going to die, and she did it anyway for 2 days. On the third day, I think they threatened her at the hospital. But um, so she was around more after the overdose, so 7 to well, I guess it was technically I was 8 years old when I got sick. So that, there was that 1 year. She was kind of around. Uh, 8 and 9 was a blur because I was so sick. I had meningital encephalitis from chickenpox. And that was the second time she killed me. I'm stubborn. And I wasn't fully recovered from that until about the age of 12. And by then I was a teenager and fully gaslit. And my mom was my best friend. And she started to look presentable, respectable, started working as a special education teacher so she could take advantage of the most vulnerable. But my stepdad, he was a hardworking guy. And he broke his body. Oh my God. It was back in the era of we don't need no safety harness roofing. I cannot tell you how many roofs that man fell through. There was one where he fell 4 stories and broke his back. Not bad, but you know, it's just a fracture. Yeah, yeah. My brother is dyslexic. I think he's like me. I think he's probably ADHD and autism, but he's dyslexic. He needs all this help. He needs motivation. He needs $100 every time he gets an A. I needed no minuses next to my A's, or I got disappointment. She had to know that between all of the drugs she took to try to kill me before I was born, the trauma that she traded me for, the the damage from 3 days where she refused to have me admitted to the hospital with meningeal encephalitis. 3 days. She just drove me to the emergency room and took me home. It was too expensive to admit me to the hospital. Um, but he worked his ass off. He had amazing credit. He was a good worker. He did roofing, he did construction of all types. And then when he broke his body a little bit too much, he became a garbage man. And then he became recycling. And then he became a driver. And then he started having surgeries to repair some of the damage done to his back. And then the doctors gave him opiates. And then he asked the doctors for help because he was having a problem with the opiates. And they said, oh, we'll just reduce your dose. That'll help. And then he went to his work and asked for some help in a sobriety program because he was having a problem with these prescriptions. And they fired him. And then my mom handed him her tramadol on top of all of it. And put little worms in his ears till it completely rotted him. He was dead when I was 14. But I had about 8 years with him that were I didn't realize he was sort of the shining light in all of my stories. But he was. He was a star. He was so funny. And I was like his little twin. Uh, my mom and my brother would only eat the red licorice. Me and Vinny, we liked the black. My mom and my brother liked their bacon crispy and burnt. We liked it what they call raw. It wasn't raw, it just wasn't bacon powder as soon as you touched it. We both liked our mint chip ice cream. we both would play video games together. When the first computer games were coming out, like, we were on that, him and I. One of the first ones that we like shared that was a more like significant story was Ultima 9. And I'll tell you what, that game changed my life in weird ways. Ultima 9 message boards gave me some of the best friends I ever had. And at least a couple I still have. Building bread bridges. But my stepdad and I, we shared that. We liked the video games, we liked the puzzle games, we liked the thinking things. It also makes sense now because I realized that it wasn't just him. We were both ADHD. And it makes sense now why some of the things that he did were the way he did them, why he was a little bit different about some things, and why I was so much like him. I was so close to him that at one point, one of my mother's friends thought that he was abusing me. And she had a fight with my mother, convinced that it was my stepdad who was touching me. And they stopped being friends for a long period of time over that. And after a while, they came back together. And when I was 20, she told me this. And I told her, you were right, but it wasn't him. And that was on a trip in Washington, D.C. And I respect that woman very, very much. In fact, there is a reason it is that my new name is Autumn Rose. She made a difference in my life. And as much as I love all those people from Eastern, all those people who seem to be like my mothers and my fathers, were always looking out for me. Part of me can't help but think that most of them, if not all of them, are terrible people. Because they knew. They knew I was being neglected. They knew I was likely being abused. They knew it. There was like factual proof, undeniable. They knew it. And on top of that, they suspected that she was grooming my brother. How sick is that? What's really sick is I have reason to believe they're right. And she's the only one who ever said anything. That's disturbing to me. I know that, foster care and stuff back then was horrific and terrifying and could be potentially way worse. But I had family who would have taken me in. Why the hell didn't they say anything? That's the part I don't understand. That's the part I can't quantify in my mind to give it sort of a way to understand it, to say, well, that's reasonable. I can't fathom knowing and doing nothing. Am I the strange one in that? Am I the person who is odd and off because I would actually want to say something? I honestly don't know. Anyhow, yeah, so Vinny was kooky. He was one of those silly people who would just do silly things because it was unexpected. He he used to take me on trips out to see one of his friends, and it was funny because he would go down these back roads, and it was sort of like he'd give me this look. It's like, "Hey, Bethy, want to come with me?" He'd have this little like twinkle in his eye, and I know because those were the days that he knew the exact speeds, where to speed up and slow down on these back roads to make it feel like you were on a roller coaster. To give you that sort of whoa, whoa. And I think he must have enjoyed that sensation too. But my brother got car sick. So, hey, Bethy, do you want to go for a ride? Yeah. out. Let's see if I can get you a better angle here. See if I can hold you with my knees. Oh. Welcome to my knees. Hey, not bad. I'd prop you up on the dog if you let me, but he's kind of cranky right now, so, yeah. We liked the same sort of movies. We were both the ones who were figuring out the twists before, anyone else. Like, both me and him at The Sixth Sense looked at each other like, really early. Like, we didn't say anything, but we knew. Things like that. It was, we would figure out the crimes in the true crime, like cold cases. Okay, yeah. And we had fun with it. We enjoyed each other's company. We both liked to sit in front of the heater under a blanket, have it puff up. I'd have these big long nightgowns or dresses, and I would wear them over the heater vent. We would take turns under a blanket at the heater vent, just falling asleep. He could drink a giant espresso and fall asleep, just like me. And for him, now I realize it's the ADHD and the whole caffeine doesn't really work the same way. But for me, it was also narcolepsy. So, he would go hunting. Mostly just deer and duck. But I was the only person who would eat the duck with him. My mom wouldn't eat duck. It was too gamey. It's too gamey. It's too gamey and greasy. It's gross. It's not even worth it. My brother was the same way. Didn't want it. He wanted like chicken nuggets. But I liked it. I wasn't afraid to try new things. And so they had chicken and we had duck. And he would go once a year, he would go hunting with his father. And they'd each go out and get a buck. So, they'd each get one deer. And it would never be a doe. They never had a doe license. Only the bucks. And they always looked for the older ones. So he would go on these hunting trips with his father, who is one of my heroes, my Grandpa Tom. I have memories of him that I will treasure for the rest of forever. Hey, Vinny and Grandpa Tom. We could get into some trouble. Oh, I'm lost in memories now. Just silly things replaying over and over again. We would go on these trips to the seaside. Every year we would rent a house in this town called Ocean Shores. It's a West Coast beach location. And we'd rent a cabin out there with a group of people from, 3 or 4 different families. Get one of those big, like, 8-bedroom cabins. And they would just let loose. And I remember one time, my Vinny, oh my God, he got himself so drunk. He was so drunk. I could tell that he was drunk. And here he was trying to prove he wasn't intoxicated by doing cartwheels down the middle of the street, exactly along the little white line. I don't know how he did it. I don't care. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. As he's dancing around in the street, doing cartwheels in a straight line. Mm. Mm. I know what the problem is. I'm not paying attention. Hey, welcome. If you want to say hi in the chat so I know who just popped in, I'd appreciate it. Do you have any questions for me? I think my chat's still scrolling. Okay, good. Yeah, it's still working. I think it's still working. Oh, I need to eat. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh no. I have lotion that's for pain, and it's pretty intense, and it's got a mild numbing agent in it for like initial pain. And I put it on, and sometimes it can make my things go, like if I accidentally lick my hand like I just did, my tongue can go numb for a day. But I think I'm good. I think enough time passed, so. Well, take your time. Remember, I'm also playing my game. I've got activities to do while you guys ask me questions. Oh, so I got my glasses for the eclipse on the 8th because we are in the 90% eclipse zone. And I got the set I did because just, they were the approved kind, and they were just as cheap as the next thing. And it was like, it was, it was the best option. So I got a multi-pack. It came today. And I'm so glad I did because these are way too big for me. Like, way. I can fit them on, like, over the headset. Like, way too big. Like, actually fall off big. Because I have a child-size head. I have to use the child eclipse glasses. I have a baby head. So I am actually into gemstones because of my stepdad. He was an amateur gemologist. And when he was getting older and he got clean, he got off the drugs, by the way, it destroyed him. It erased him. It left him a shell of who he was. But I had a little bit of him for a while in my late teens. And I missed a lot of the time when he was bad. I was in a different state, dealing with a different narcissist. And he had traded the drug addiction for a shopping addiction. And it was gemstones. He would buy QVC gemstones to the point where my mom started putting parental locks on the shopping channels. And then they went bankrupt. So when he died, there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, my mom got insurance money and she got a bunch of like charity shit. And hey, but she didn't get much because, she drove him to the drugs and then he spent it all on gemstones. Um, but he would make us jewelry that was worth thousands of dollars because he would do it himself. And he would really put his heart into it. And really, he thought about every detail. Um, and so when the last time I was there, she gave me his gemstones and his equipment, said, turn it into something, flip it, send me the money. But put the tanzanite in storage for 20 years and don't touch it. That was my inheritance. Flip it and send me the money. So I donated it all to my nonprofit work. I have dedicated every single one of those gemstones to my nonprofit work. And I know that my stepfather would love that. I know he does love it. And the Tanzanite's still going in storage for 25 years. Oh, ooh, dude. Ooh, bringing up the heartstrings there. Yeah. So it was funny. Her laziness, her greed, and her obliviousness to the idea that I was ever be strong enough to defy her. And she gave me the thing that opened my eyes. Made me see the world in a completely different way. And helped me understand that I was seeing something special in the soil around me. It's her fault that I made the discovery I made. And this morning, as I was sitting on my step, picking golden diamonds out of my garden, casually, I giggled. Because I know he's up there just having that little laugh. He had this laugh when he was up to no good. It was like this, oh gosh, I can't even like describe it. But it was this true joyful laugh. And we were the same kind of prankster. Oh, I got him good one time too. I got him so good. We used to have Secret Santa gag gifts. And one year I got him. And we were supposed to get something to basically reveal who our Secret Santa was the day before Christmas. You don't have to worry about that, Aaron. It's fine if you have a typo. What, leave no trace? So he was very self-conscious about his hair. He wasn't losing his hair, but he had spots that were thinner than he liked. When really I think it was just his forehead was growing. But he did have dandruff. You know, he had a dandruff problem, and I think he was self-conscious about it. And so when I got his name, I made an early call, like early in the year, for Rogaine information. And then I got the mail every day. And I got their first introductory sort of like a, hey, thanks for telling us you're interested in Rogaine. Ben. And I hid that shit for 6 months, maybe even longer. And he kept getting so much junk mail for Rogaine. so much. Oh my God. Like every day there was something about balding coming for him. Every day there was junk mail. And on Christmas, there he was with like one of the t-shirt boxes. And he's like, oh, it's from Bethy. What's it gonna be? I can't wait. Bethy's gifts are always the best. Bethy's gifts are like my favorite. And I have to call Jim and apologize. I got him so good that he almost like stopped being friends with his best friend because he was sure that his best friend Jim did this to him. He was sure of it. In that moment, he learned that how sinister I could be. And he hated me. And he feared me. And he loved me so much because he couldn't believe how long I had kept that secret. He's like, nobody thought you could keep secrets. I'm like, you don't know what I can do. Oh my gosh. Yep. Yep. That was a good one. I have to call Jim. uh, we'd go fishing. I loved fishing with him. Nothing could stop us from fishing. Even when he forgot his pole. He took my pole, pulled some line off it. He went off to the shoreline. He found himself a good stick. And he tied that line to the end of the pole. He caught more goddamn fish than I did that day. Really, he just liked to get away. Oh, but he did have a few things he could do that ADHD hyperfocus on. Holy shit. He made fishing flies. In fact, I would watch him for hours making these fishing flies. They're his special Spada Lake flies. They're perfect flies for Spada Lake, Washington. That was our fishing spot. It was a little ways out of the way. It was worth it. And there's this little area we would go back to. And we just troll around in this little lagoon type area that almost nobody ever knew about because it was sort of this, like, the way the plants were, you couldn't see that there was another little way back unless you were at exactly the right angle. It was like one of those invisible bridges, you know? And we'd go back there and we'd just troll around for hours. And there was always these big bald eagles. And we would watch them build their nests. And it was so amazing because what they do is they go to the dead trees, they perch on a branch, and then they whip out their wings really fast to push down and just snap the branch off. It's amazing. So we just hear these snap. And me and him, we could just sit and enjoy the quiet. There didn't need to be noise, conversation. In fact, that scares the fish. Shh, you're scared of the fish. It was peaceful there. You could only use electric motors, so there wasn't any big, loud gas motors. Yeah. There's a few hobbies that he never wanted me to get into, even though I wanted to, independently of him. I wanted to try these hobbies out, and he wouldn't facilitate it, and I didn't know why. And I think I kind of figured it out. I think he realized that my hands couldn't handle archery. And I think he didn't want to see me disappointed. Because I really wanted to learn how to shoot a bow. I really enjoy target shooting, actually. You know, and I'm pretty good despite like my dyspraxia and my shaky hands. I've got a pretty good aim. I mean, I'm no slouch in a zombie apocalypse, is all I'm saying. I can double tap. But he never wanted me involved with his bow shooting for some reason. Hold on, because that alarm is to check the chicken. So come with me to my kitchen. One moment, people on Twitch. We'll go under the cord. Let's not tempt fate. Oh, I gotta feed the fish. Ooh, excuse me. Okay. So I did not use the chicken that comes in a bag this time. Oh, damn it! Turned off the wrong one. Okay. There we go. It's probably gonna beep again. So I actually stuffed and dressed this one myself. Let's see how it's doing. Hey, nice to see you. Happy Easter. Okay. Ooh, it's looking good, good, good. Okay. Yeah, you guys want to see it? Let me turn on the oven light. Okay. Let's see how we're doing here. Well, it's certainly over 165. So let's turn that off. Let this puppy rest for a few minutes, but this is my dinner. I got chicken with homegrown herbs. That's a bay leaf from my bay tree with a sage and sumac rub with Cameroon pepper, Himalayan salt. I've got parsnip, onion, potato, and a little bit of lime. On a bed of cabbage, Napa cabbage. I don't do it often, but occasionally I am allowed to have chicken, but it has to be free range. So, and for those who don't know, Cameroon pepper is actually it's not its own pepper, it's its own type of processing pepper. So this is actually Scotch bonnets. It's smoked Scotch bonnet. So I like the spicy. I do have some red sumac, but I actually have a lot of red sumac. This is about half of last year's harvest. So I'm a bit of a fruit and spice girl, I guess you would say. So I do think I want an apple though. So hold on. Can't believe I'm out of peanut butter again though. That's upsetting. I know, Chewy. It's resting. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I really feel like I have been blessed, because the only thing that was stopping me was finances. And now I may have discovered something that solves that problem permanently. That money is never going to need to be a concern about why I can and cannot do things. And I can't tell you how liberating that is, and also how terrifying that is. It's a little scary to think about somebody who grew up surviving on cat food to have an unlimited amount of funds. I mean, not only is the idea of what I can do completely beyond comprehension, but knowing how many people are out there who would want to stop me, I'm not stupid. I know that what I found is as dangerous as it is rewarding. I know what can happen to people like me. But I realize something. Fear is the most terrible feeling in the world. Fear drives all negativity. If you think about it, people who are angry, a lot of the times they're lashing out because they're afraid. Fear is a lot of what causes envy and greed. Fear of not having. People are possessive because they have a fear of losing something. Fear drives a lot of the negative feelings in this world because it's powerful. It is an absolutely terrible feeling. But the thing is, that's not fear that you're feeling. That feeling that you think is so terrible, that's only fear if you let it stop you. If you embrace that feeling, if you push on despite it,
you actually can flip that feeling on its head. Because you realize it's not fear at that point, it's courage. And in that sense, sometimes you can take that fear and actually use it to push yourself forward, to motivate you. Because that's not fear, that's courage. It was nice to see you. Joey, stop right now, please. Oh, that's right. Chewy needs to go outside. I probably am going to pause this. And, can I pause this? Is there like a pause? Is there like a screen I can pop up, or you guys just want to go on my walkie with me? Want to go on my walkie? It's going to be a little one. I'm taking the other part of the apple. The chicken will be ready when we get back, baby. Come on. Yeah. It'll be ready when we get back. Come on. Where did I put your harness? Or will we ever Oh, there it is. So I got decorations for Easter. Totally forgot to put them out. But I was going to have it out for my live until I realized it's not one of those plug-in inflatables. It's basically a beach ball shaped like an egg. A 4-foot tall egg. So I thought maybe we could do a gradual over time. How many breaths did it take? I've already put a specific number of blows into this thing. I'm thinking closest without going over gets a prize. Chewy, come here. Come here unless you don't want to go on a walkie. I'm not crawling under the table for you right now. Come on. I am going to pause on Switch. But I'll be back. Okay. So, okay. Aaron, you're going to 78 breaths, you're sure? 4-foot tall egg. I'm not saying it's a bad number. I honestly have no clue how many it's going to take. Okay, bye, Chewy. I'll go on my walkie without you. It's my walkie now, not your walkie. Where's this pink leash? There it is. Usually I put on the pink leash and he'll be hopping to it. One moment, please. I'd like to thank my friend Natalie for this jumper. Turns out it wasn't too big for me. I just wear it differently. Oh, look. Look. Somebody might be coming out from under the table. Hold on, that's 1 second. you gotta do it. Okay. Now I just need my plate and poo bag. Oh. Sorry, Chewy. Oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ. Sorry, Chewy. You okay? I meant to do that. Sorry. I mean, I didn't mean to, but, you know. Where's the poo bags? I need poo bags, baby. I need the poo bags. Okay? Just give me a second. Okay. Got it. Okay. Okay. 78 breaths. I think that's a good, actually, that's probably a pretty good number. Because I know how many I've had already and where it's at, so. Okay. Let's see here. I've got 2 little lights, so hopefully everything will be good. Okay. Come on, Shu, let's go. Yeah, let's go. Come on. Okay. We always have to check the door twice because we have a cat that likes to escape and knows how to open the door. Oh yeah, I'm doing full lungfuls, like theater breathing, like all the way down into the diaphragm kind of breaths. No chumpy little Lamaze breaths or anything. You want to cross? Sure, do you want to cross? Yeah? Okay. Go ahead. He seems to be going to a specific location to poo, so we may be in luck and it may be a very short walkie. So. Well, Aaron, you actually know quite a bit about me, but do you have any questions? Any sort of stories you would like to hear? Yeah, no cheese puffs, no corn puffs, no Cheetos involved. Puffs or Cheetos. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. I could never eat the crunchy ones either. They tore up the roof of my mouth just as bad as Captain Crunch. So, I actually have probably one of my best sort of moments that I had with my stepdad that involved my mom being totally freaked out. This is probably one of my favorite stories with my stepdad. We loved action films, like big time. We were the Michael Bay explosion duo, just except I don't like Michael Bay very much, but we were those movies. My brother wanted to watch the weird, sort of like Western shit with my mom, and me and wanted explosions. We wanted Riddick. We wanted, that sort of stuff. And so we would watch all those sorts of shows and movies together. And it was right around the time I was about 18 years old. Or maybe a little older. But I was, of an appropriate age. And I come into the house where my stepdad is standing at the wall, and my mom's sort of in the kitchen next to, on the other side of the little island. And he goes, "Hey, Bethy, do you want to go see that XXX movie with me tomorrow?" And I just said, "Oh my God, yes! I have been wanting to see that so bad." And here's my mother in the middle of us, and her, What is going on here? What the fuck are you talking about? Going to a Triple X movie with her? What did you think? Like, no, Mom, Vin Diesel. It's not a porno. Ew, Mom, why would you think that? So, okay, this I'm going to let you sit out. Let's see. Okay, so can you just. Nobody wants to be involved in this, Julie, not even me. Oh, God. What did I feed you today? Oh, my God. Oh, why won't these bags open? Oof. Oof. The lavender smell doesn't do enough. Now it just smells like lavender poop. Oh, my God. Oh, Lord already. Yeah. Triple X was the title of the movie. Because it was 3 strikes. Nobody except her was like, porno. Gotta look. This is the place that gets some of the good ones. No? Okay, we can cross. There was actually something happened where we ended up with hundreds of micro diamonds in the middle of the road. Probably the backhoe from the local graveyard probably dropped something that had like one of those composite diamonds. Because look at this. Can I turn on a light? I don't know, but here. Oh, wait, here, there it is. There it goes. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this, but it is filled with micro diamonds, like itty bitty guys. And they're all over the place. So right now I have a gold pan full of microscopic diamonds. So yeah, that one's not so microscopic. I'll grab that one. But yeah. I don't have oh, there we go. Okay. Chewy. Oh. There we go. Chewy. Around. Yes. The title, not the rating. So yeah, so now there's little micro diamonds all over because it's rained and it pushed them all down the street. So they're actually easier to get now. You can just scoop up the dirt in the corners of things where they settle and okay, so it's not going to be a short walk. He's being a brat. Oh God, come on. Mommy wants chicken. Mommy wants chicken and vegetables. So there's things about my stepdad that I seem to be the only one who remembers. And I think it's because they were things that he started to enjoy when he was around us. But because of the nature of his relationship with my mother and her isolating us from everybody else, I think that he kind of, either people didn't know that he had developed some of these interests, or we weren't around for them to notice that it had happened.
before he lost it again, before she made him feel like there was no point in it. Why bother? Why am I doing this? It's not like I'm going anywhere with this. And he would slowly lose hobbies, lose interests, and lose a lot of his hope and his joy and his self-worth. And it was, sorry, one second. Oh, I need to change hands. And it would crush him. It would absolutely just slowly break parts of him away until there just wasn't a Vinny anymore. Damn it, I know I saw a good one. Oh well, guess it's not for me. That's what you gotta do sometimes, you know. If you see something and you can't find it, it's not meant for you. That's meant for somebody else. And it's okay. It's okay to walk past it and leave it for that person. Because if it's meant to be yours, you'll find it. It'll find its way to you. Because that's how things that are meant to be happen. If they're meant to be, they'll happen. Why stress it? Why force it? Just, honestly, people, the best thing you can do is to pay attention, to look around you. There is so much to discover in the 3 feet that surround us, in the people that we already know. It isn't just big corporations and surveyors who find the known unknowns and then skip past them. It's everybody. We think that what is common to us is common. Our rocks are worthless because they are our rocks. Until we look at them closer and we realize that our rocks are special. And I know not everybody, is going to find diamonds, but I found them because I looked where the question marks were. When I had a question that nobody could answer, I didn't shrug my shoulders and move on. I asked somebody else. And when I got mocked, I shrugged my shoulders and I asked somebody else. And when I was ignored, I did more research and I asked somebody else. There are a lot of assholes in this world. There are so many hoops that can be put in our way that we have to jump through. But not everybody is an asshole. And not everybody is putting out hoops. And there's a few that not only put out the hoops, but then light them on fire. Those people who make those demands, they're not worth it. Never let anyone demand of you more than they would give of themselves. A friend needs help. Help them. But only to the degree that they help themselves. And recognize their reaction when one day that request is reversed. And then you can know. Did they give help to the degree that you did? And this doesn't have to be a tit for tat one-upsmanship and am I the bestest of friend? It's just a recognition. Do they treat you with respect? Do they treat you with kindness? Do they ask or do they tell you? Do they respect your time? A lot of us have such a fear of losing people, on missing out, and on not taking advantage of things. We have FOMO so bad that it is literally killing us. Because sometimes we'll do stupid shit just so that we keep a friend. But I can absolutely say, those aren't the friends that are worth it. Oh my goodness, Chewy, do you see all of this? Oh my gosh, okay. So, something did happen. So what happens is, this is a stone that comes up, and it's a precursor to certain wonderfully delicious gemstones. But it itself actually is quite a sparkler. But it's best in offset light. And the best is, it's crystal clear. So it's very hard to see. You guys might get some cleavage while I'm looking. Oh darn. Okay, so where's the next sparkle, Chewy? There were sparkles all over the place. So it's actually hard to see where they are unless you are down close to the level of the ground. So, hence the awkward views. But there's a few things. Sometimes it looks like glass, and sometimes it is glass. But either way, it's not something that should be on the street. So try to grab it when I see it. And most of the time, it does turn out to be crystal, not glass. So there's always that. I know I saw one. Where was it? Oh, that might be different kinds of sparkles. You're going gem hunting with me. Yay! Oh, that might be it. That might be the one. Well, I found at least one really nice one. That makes me happy. Yeah. That makes me happy. Don't go behind my legs, Chewy. You know better. You know better than that. Oh, there's a piece. So it's in all sorts of different colors. But typically around here I find it in like a brownish red, black, like completely black, like can't see through it, mirrored, silver, and green. So, and by mirrored I mean literally it's got mirrored backing. We do have silver in high content in the ground. My ground is a lot of silver, copper, and gold. The metal detectors go crazy here. They all just are like constantly saying, yeah, gold, silver, copper, copper, gold, copper. You know, it's like, make your mind up, please. But
Or not, because all three are wonderful to have. I mean, holy cow, if you're gonna have precious metals, those are the ones to have. And I also do believe that I have found platinum. So we're sitting in a kind of sweet spot over top of my discovery. So, but nobody ever just stopped and said, hey, why are the streets like sparkly? Why do our streets sparkle? After a rainstorm, why is there a glitter on our sidewalks? And everybody looks at me like I'm crazy. But the thing to realize about where I am right now is the people who live here are one of two things. They're from New York, and they moved, as my partner here puts it, just far enough. Or they've been here their whole life, and they've never seen anywhere else. They have no idea that nobody else has streets that sparkle after rainstorms. Yeah, he had a lot of dying dreams. It's a good way of putting it. He played the harmonica, and she hated it. Oh, she hated it. She said it always felt like he was spitting on her. That was her excuse. So he got these fancy harmonicas, and he hid them. And I think he ended up needing to get rid of them because of me. Because I loved him so much. And I idolized him. And I wanted to play what he played. I wanted to do the things he did. Always. And still, I couldn't call him dad. I don't think I ever called him dad. I called him Vinny. I called him stepdad. I called him asshole. All of them at times were accurate. And he was not my father. That's something he couldn't be. And that's not his fault. But he was my dad. And he wants to be remembered on Easter. A day of gathering and laughter and celebration. Of potlucks where, for some odd reason, one year everybody brings Swedish meatballs. Where there are highly inappropriate and controversial eggs decorated in $75 dioramas for a 99-cent prize. Where the old folks are sneaking off in the woods to go smoke a doob, like the good old days. But now they have the cancer kind. I've lost most of the people who were like other dads to me. I've only lost one of the moms. And in truth, it's like, okay, but they never said anything. They loved me, but they never said anything. So, I have that sort of heartbreak to deal with. But then he wouldn't want me focusing on that. He would want me focusing on funny Easter eggs, watching teenagers following streams to get a nickel in a little plastic egg. It's eating way too much pie and not the crust. It's about music from people I respect, now gone from the world. So yeah. He's why I kept fish. So let's see, show you a couple of things I picked up. I got this one. So this is likely a little clear diopside. I got a couple other thin clear ones. I got a couple that are red or brown. So these ones I actually need to check under the microscope because they might be garnets. So I got a couple of those. Pretty sure this one is a diamond. I'll try to get it. No, it's not focusing. Damn it. So yeah, pretty sure that one's diamond. And then I've got some that need to be cleaned up, but really, like, they shined in a way where they probably are. Let me just grab those ones. And I'll just show you all of them in my hand at once because there's a good number of them. Oh yeah, that one's definitely either that or it's a, I guess it could be a very light blue one. Okay. Oh, micro diamond I got. Okay. Okay. So let me go rinse these off real quick and I'll show you. They're not great ones, but you know, it wasn't out there for that. I just don't, you know, skip over opportunities. Okay. So, diamonds don't start how you think. They don't come out of the ground shiny. They're almost never clean. And they're very rarely clear. You have to remember, these are stones that have been under extreme pressure and heat. They have been baked.
They have been squashed. And they may be one of the hardest materials on earth, but things still stick to them. So, your everyday normal pebbles on the straight. Sometimes when you rinse them off, you can find something sweet. So this one's rinsing off pretty nicely. Obviously not all of them are going to be gem quality, but I mean, these are some of the ones I've rinsed off before. And I know they don't look like the diamonds you know. That one does a little bit, but that's not even a diamond. Diamonds look greasy. Diamonds aren't tidy. And I've been really well picking this pile clean, but diamonds have interesting qualities with light. And if you can play with the light, they start to pop out at you. A lot. So, like, for example, most of this has already been picked through. But, see that one right there? You see how those are cloudy? These two right here? This one and this one right here? They look like almost greasy. They don't look shiny. They almost look like somebody smudged them. Or, you know, they got olive oil on them. Those are diamonds. That's what they look like. They look like a lot of the little pebbles. That lay in the street. And they don't always take a diamond shape. And sometimes they have a diamond shape, but they're hiding it. Sometimes they look like squares or triangles. It's a weird thing. When you realize that and you look around and you're like, oh, holy shit. Okay, so I'll tell you what, I have been on here for 2 hours exactly. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to have my dinner. And I might be back on in like in an hour, maybe a half hour. I might not, we'll see. But I really liked being able to talk about my Vinny Whiskerers with you guys. I liked spending a moment of my day with you. Oh, you'll see me. One way or another, you'll see me. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not afraid. I'm making it my courage. So, thank you, Erin. Thank you, Five Flames. Thank you, everyone who was here tonight. I really appreciate you. And I love you all unconditionally.
I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Everyone deserves that love. So, I love you guys, and I'll see you soon, okay?